Trevor Gumbi is in the house. How do you like them apples? Look at this man. Look at him. He's in all his glory.
Right.
You look like an athlete. You came in here this morning, looked like you're dressed for the Olympics or something.
Well, I'm dressed for gym because if I don't put on my gym clothes, I won't do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I'm not allowed to use up the laundry basket much.
Oh,
so
there are rules.
Yeah, because we save on the washing. So
Yeah.
what you wear, you got to wear.
Right.
So the PJs get washed once a week. And then the clothes that you wear on that day, that's what you're going to stay in. So if you make a mistake and you like laminate yourself, that's what you're going to be in. A thin film of protective gel.
Well, you look like you're made of, that stuff that those people wear when they're working on the road late at night, and those reflective jackets and shit. I mean, that is the brightest orange of all time. In fact, you can't even see it properly on the camera.
Is this orange? Is it not salmon?
Dude, it is like super orange.
L'orange.
It's so orange, it's burning my retina.
That's good.
It's definitely toned down on the camera.
Sure.
It's bright.
First thing on a Monday, and I'm like struggling to
Well, I won't get hit by cars or
No.
garbage trucks.
No chance of that. So
I will attract the neighborhood dogs, though.
how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm great. Thank you for calling me over, guys. This is
Dude,
amazing.
are you joking? I've missed you. I said to Leigh-Ann, you are still one of my favorite people to have in the studio because you just let loose. And
No, you didn't. You said he's
It's
off the
fucked in the
handle,
head,
fucked in the head, crazy as shit.
That's nice things to say.
those are the
Those
best
are
things.
best compliments.
I only say those things about the people I like.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And I appreciate it, Gareth. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
that's
you.
the least
It's
I can
better
do.
than people saying, "Oh yeah, Trevor, he's so cordial."
Yeah.
What are you, lime?
Light,
You've forgotten
lovely
obviously
man.
how these mics work. Pull it up a little bit closer.
Man.
There we go. There we go.
There.
Now we're talking. That's sexy. There we
All
go.
right.
So first of all, it's Monday and it's a full week of 5 days, which is really irritating because I was so into last week's 3-day week. You know?
That was good. Thank you, EFF and colonizers.
I know.
How
I
they
wish
just came together. It's just give us a 3-day week,
do
It was
it more.
colonizers working hand in hand
There we
with
go.
the EFF, and
Right.
they just gave us 3 days. Nice.
Well, I mean, we've got so let's look at this because next Friday.
I just made a joke about the Sharpeville massacre, and you guys brushed it off.
Well, because
It's
we know
not your fault.
because we know
You
it's
weren't there.
It's you.
Oh.
It's you. If it was anyone else who said that, I'd be like, oh, yes, and let's remember Human Rights Day. Let's get into this.
Friday.
So we have a holiday on next Friday. So next week's only a 4-day week.
Oh, good.
And then the next week is also only a 4-day week.
Oh, now we start with all the Easter stuff.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And by the way, all that stupid bullshit of like April Fool's Day will start at the end of this week. But luckily,
Hates it.
I know I hate it too.
Oh.
Thank God it is a Saturday that April Fool's Day happens. So you don't have to hear those dumb radio DJs telling you that a story in the news is real when it's such obvious nonsense.
And you'd think they wouldn't do that, with all the April reshuffles. They'd be grateful to have their job still, because they schmoozed up to the people on the 8th floor.
I heard we've got like a couple of people coming in the next while, some guests and so on the show. I heard some of them have been hired, fired. I don't know any of this stuff because I don't listen to radio anymore. So I'm only too happy to have them in to either bitch about being fired
Yeah.
or to express how grateful they are to their overlords that they were held in place,
Exactly.
So how are your children?
And it's all ego-driven, isn't it?
Oh, it's totally ego.
It is.
All about
Please.
Because the guys on the 8th floor, if you see them out at a function and you don't recognize or greet them in public, then it's like, oh, you coming up for...
That's exactly what happened to me.
Is it?
I met the SABC CEO because we had about 10 while I was there.
Right.
I met her at the JNB Met in Cape Town. Met her at the Met.
That'll do it.
No, and I didn't know. I'm like, hi, I'm Gareth. She's like, hi, I'm whatever. So yeah, nice to meet you. She's like, I'm the CEO of the SABC. So I said, oh, okay. Well, everyone in this room has been at least once. She didn't think that was funny. Anyway, she didn't fire me, but she could have if she was an absolute bitch. And I don't know what she's doing now. So maybe I lasted longer than her. For all we know.
Maybe.
I mean, it is funny to hear. Like the other day, I don't even know if I meant to talk about this, but Anele like messaged me out of the blue,
Oh yeah.
and she's like, "Don't you want to come on The Masked Singer?" 'Cause she's
Oh,
now, you know, she's
as a
producer.
judge.
I don't
Or-
know. I don't know what she wanted.
Well,
Oh,
I hope it
wow.
wasn't as a competitor.
I,
Because
I would have said no anyway.
okay,
you know,
'cause
Do
I was
you
going to
sing?
say you would have given
Of
it
course, I
away.
said no
Do
straight
you
away.
sing?
He does
I,
sing.
I
Yeah.
can, but I wouldn't. Yeah,
You won't.
So there are two reasons I'll do it: either to make people laugh, and this could fit into that category,
Yeah.
or for charity, which also could fit into this category.
Mm,
You would
But
have
no.
to change your voice completely because it's too recognizable.
But I'm not.
It is.
I'm not going to do it anyway. I thought like what? So
You would never get into a costume. You would swear
that's
the whole way
thing.
through.
See, I would do the singing part if they could find to put on an outfit. I'm never going to do
No?
it.
No, you'll never do that. You'll
Yeah,
swear the whole way
Like dress
through.
up like a what do
Oh
they
well,
dress?
you're
Like
a
a wasp
ball
or
of fun on
something.
Halloween.
I'm
Jeez.
so not fun about these things.
No.
So I just said, nah, don't worry about it. It's cool. Thanks so much. We'll do breakfast or something one day.
I'd do it
Would
if I
you?
could sing.
I think you
I
would.
can't sing though.
You'd enjoy it though. You'd
Yeah, I
actually
would.
you'd be really pleased to be doing something like that
I
because
would.
you enjoy that shit. You like entertaining people. You like making people laugh and applaud.
Or feel awkward.
Or would you go?
Yeah. No, just make people feel
Would
awkward.
you sing really badly or
Yeah.
something?
I'd, I'd bring alcohol onto the judging table and spike my fellow judge.
I wonder where that woman is.
Oh,
That Mara Lowe.
didn't she pass?
No, she's still alive.
Oh, jeez.
No, she's still alive. somewhere.
oh.
Now you've just made it even worse.
Oh.
Now she's gonna phone you in a drunken stupor. What?
This is about me. You don't do that again.
Yeah. Don't you love when like grown ass adults can't take responsibility for their own lives?
I know.
Since you brought it up,
I know. I was watching
Shame.
Carte Blanche last night, and
who did you see?
some lady who's a liquidator. They were talking about the story of the liquidator of Bosasa,
Ooh, the one who got shot
who got shot with
Oh,
the
with
yeah.
his
son.
son. Yeah.
Yes, and a fellow liquidator from the liquidation company, some lady, phoned another liquidator talking about, yeah, it's not Bosasa, it's not the ANC, it's one of us, our liquidators, because
Oh wow, it's their liquidator competition.
yeah, because now apparently the guy who got killed was working too efficiently and too
Ooh.
fast.
Ooh.
And the liquidators make money off of keeping the case going for longer. And she was like, yeah, it's definitely one of us because he's fucking around and doing things efficiently. And then they call
That's
her.
like
She comments, she's like, oh, sorry, it was I was drunk.
that's like
Oh, really?
that's-
Speak to my colleague Johnny Walker.
so did they quote her? I mean, was she like recorded saying this?
recorded.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah,
so heavy.
recorded, yeah.
Check it out. What do you got in that coffee? How many sugars?
Thank you. Oh, he put milk.
Oh,
Oh,
you
no,
don't do milk.
no milk.
So racist.
Just
Do you do
assume.
sugar in your coffee? There's a reason I'm asking.
I don't do sugar. I put in sweetener of any kind. At home I use xylitol.
So I don't know anything about this stuff. I've seen them sell like xylitol in a packet. Yeah, at the grocery store.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but Dr. Mark, he does this show on a Thursday here. He runs the T Clinic, which is like a men's health clinic. It's to kind of help men have their erections for longer in life.
Ejaculate all over.
Yeah, just like super alpha men,
Oh
like
yeah.
good muscles and like big dicks and like that sort of
The
shit.
tea clinic.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we're hugely simplifying the work he does, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So he says that he would rather have people put 3 sugars in their tea or coffee than drink sweetener. He says it's bad for you.
What about obesity?
Have you noticed any dick shrinkage? Is this what we're doing?
No, apparently it's carcinogenic or you know
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But you never
had to
know.
spoil
I saw
my fun.
something recently about it's been disproved that it doesn't cause cancer.
It's been debunked.
Yeah. So I mean, but you never know.
Do you like the taste? Because apparently it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same. But I'm doing it for health reasons. I'm
But
diabetic.
you're looking lean as hell.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for noticing.
have you been training with a trainer or are you doing it yourself?
I'm doing it by myself at home. I
Fuck.
built a gym in a garage.
Look at
And,
you, dude.
Yeah,
He walks in here like an athlete. He's got these like what do you call these pants? These tight gym pants.
Spandex.
Lycra, spandex.
Yeah. He walks in here looking like that.
I do work out with a personal trainer, Ika, but it's more like a friendly thing that he comes over and he
Is that an
abuses me.
Eastern European name?
It's a black guy, actually.
Ika.
Yeah, Ika. Yeah,
It sounds like
Ikeer.
Sounds like a Eastern European. Hello, we are going to train today. Are you
It
ready,
does.
Trevor Gumbi?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. His name's Ika. He's got this heavy Model C accent. He said, "Your ass is bit."
1,
What
2,
is it?
3, 4, 5.
I
Yeah,
saw
that
an
guy.
ad. I saw an ad yesterday for some takeaway place, and they had a black guy doing the voiceover, but he's also like that. And the price is $9.95. And I was like, that's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
But there's such a big population of that of those kind of people, and
Yeah.
I would say in our history, as brief as it is, like you and I, Gareth, you must have experienced the first black guy at your primary school. I was the
High
first
school,
black
actually.
guy at my primary school.
Well,
Sorry?
you were the first black guy at your primary school?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Parkview Primary.
Yeah, we had a couple of black kids in our school when I was at primary school, and
Oh, for me, it was only high school, and we're the same age.
yeah, but you were much more apartheid.
Our area was, yes.
Is that a thing?
She was in the south of Joburg, so
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
like
hardcore.
Orange Farm and then the rest of the world.
Yeah, so I'm still friends with a lot of guys from that, and I remember Nick Wilson. Nick Wilson, he told me that the day before I came, Mr. Eager, the principal, came into what would have been my homeroom, and he like went to warn everybody. So guys,
there's a black guy.
there's a black guy coming. There's a black guy coming. So just
Don't freak out.
Nick. He's going to be sharing a desk with you. So sorry if he smells.
No.
Swear to God. We should. Yeah,
It must have been the hardest thing you've.
Yes.
Is it the hardest thing you've ever done?
No.
Is it the hardest? Is it the,
You're talking to Trevor Gumbi.
No,
Anyone
no.
else maybe. But
was it the most
No.
impactful thing of your
I
childhood?
didn't
school
know
years?
about the conversation.
Do you remember
it?
Until later.
But do you remember
Oh.
the first day there and
Oh yeah.
feeling like you were different?
Oh yeah. I remember the first day, but the kids were good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Kids don't actually, unless their parents are total dicks.
exactly.
Kids are not interested in that shit. They want to
Mhm.
be friends. I see like my little nephews now who are what, 8 and 6, could be 9 and 6. I better check.
She's great uncle.
I know. Anyway, they have everybody at their birthdays. They go to all the birthdays. It's all mixed up. It's like those ads that you see on TV.
Exactly.
With all the kids play. It's really like
Those
that.
ads are coming true now.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about
So,
that stuff.
thank you, Dunlop, for
They don't even-
foreseeing this.
They don't even notice. Like, we've been. My brother and sister-in-law have said to me, we mustn't like make a thing about it if we talk about that person who's black or white or whatever, because the kids don't even take note of it.
Yes.
They're like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking about it that way.
Mm.
You
Which-
got to describe kids differently.
But isn't that awesome? It's only been like 20 odd years, and look at how much it's improved,
It's brilliant.
right?
It's brilliant.
How are your children?
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Much better. Much better. So
What, there was something wrong?
yeah. We had been in counseling because trauma counseling because
Oh,
the
shit.
eldest.
I do remember this.
Yeah. The eldest best friend got stabbed to death at a club near your old studio. So we
Mm.
were
I
getting
remember
over that.
Jeez,
And
dude.
we're still hoping for justice for Trompo. Hopefully our courts do the right thing, you know.
Takes so long, though. Takes so long.
It does.
You
It
kind of
does.
wish for those days when, like, the community.
Wait, hold on.
the
Think about
community-
what you were.
I know.
Think about what you
Those
were
days in the community would just gather around someone and just like shred them to
Oh
pieces.
yeah, oh yeah. Mob
You know?
justice,
Yeah,
because people get so frustrated.
They do.
And it's mob justice is because our government and our judiciary has failed us so much that people want to take things into their own hands.
Yes.
And then it gets an even worse image because of people who during the incident of mob justice take it upon themselves to loot and steal.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah.
that is another
Well,
section
I
of it.
think-
It's
I
not
think-
people looking for justice, it's opportunists
Mm.
within the crowd.
well, I mean, someone said the other day that if we at least saw some of these crooks going to jail, then maybe we would feel like things were more or less
Working?
under control. It was, like there was a system. But I think people see this stuff. Jeez, dude, I had David Cowan here the other day.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah. He was very funny, but he was moaning like, you know, those political pundits you see on TV.
No.
And then the week after that, we had Barry Hilton, and he was moaning. And then I had a TikToker in on Friday. This guy called Prev Naidu, yeah, and he was in, and he was laughing because he's like, he doesn't care about any of that political stuff at all. But I do think it's amazing. This guy's like sold out venues like Emperor's, the State Theatre.
Who?
And he's a TikToker. He's brilliant though. I mean,
really?
He puts on a wig and like does his mom's antics. Yeah. You've seen him, right? I think it's Prev Reddy. It's Prev Reddy. Anyway, Naidu Reddy, Munsami. It's like
we never know.
Gumbi, Shabalala,
Yeah.
Kumete, Cliff Mole. Who keeping all of
There's
this
so
going?
many Naidus because you don't know who Naid who.
But dude, it is hilarious that this guy, I mean, not hilarious, it's fantastic from his point of view, but like, you know what it takes to sell out these venues, right? And these days, these guys can have their pick because comedians there's no Parkers anymore or shit like that, right? So where do comedians go? They have to do either a big crowd, which, let's face it, big names like you and David and so on, you can sell those places out.
It's
but
difficult.
This guy's on TikTok and he's punching at that height. You know, it's not a bad display of how things have changed.
It's quite something that you notice that the older guys like Barry and David were moaning in here, and the TikTok was in a positive light. And
right.
Just life.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to resistance to change. You know, things are changing, and things are working on algorithms, and these younger guys, they've gotten it right. You know, they know how to engage with people, and that's what people want. You know, we'll sit back and moan, people don't buy my tickets to the Barnyard Theatre anymore because nobody wants to go there.
I do want to be fair, like neither David nor Barry were moaning about that. They were moaning about like, the water and electricity.
The state of affairs.
Yeah. So they were like, David was especially like scathing about politics.
Right.
But they also older guys. Like we're older now and we moan about stuff. That's what we do.
Right.
I try my best not to be a misery. But like some days, and it's an effect of like all the stuff that's happening around you. But sometimes you're just not on form. Yeah. You just want to fight and argue and be grumpy. It happens to me. You've seen it.
I find that I'm grumpy lately.
What are you grumpy about?
Okay, now I've quit liquor again. Okay. I'm on what's the date today?
28th.
Oh,
27th.
Okay. So I'm on 5 months and 20 days,
Jeez.
right? Without liquor.
Amazing.
And I'm still at the grumpy phase, like, oh fuck, I hate everything. Oh, I just need a break from
everything
this
takes
shit.
longer. Hangovers last longer. Grumpiness lasts
The
longer.
cricking in my knees.
I had to take anti-inflammatories just that I knew I could walk from the car to the studio this morning. Seriously. I had to take Cataflam.
This is a much bigger studio, much bigger place as well.
Jesus.
Does anybody live here like on the sly? I would live here if I worked here.
No one would
really
know.
nice. There's there's an executive suite that we can rent out to like guests who come in from Cape Town or overseas. So this place is. I'll show you around later. It's wild.
Well, listen, if my hips are like particularly bad, I might have to come here the night before and sleep over.
Yeah,
nice.
Then you can wheel me
We'll
in.
just wheel you in.
And it's such a great address.
So I know. I mean, how perfect to you're in the middle of
Embassy?
Santon. Yeah.
Popeyes?
Oh, no, dude. This is all. Yeah, Popeyes across the
Has
road.
anybody ever had Popeyes?
No, not yet.
No, the
How
first.
is it staying in business? It's like those Turkish rug places.
Oh, you mean they look like they could be a front?
Oh, really?
Listen, we're coming from Ravonia. In Ravonia, all the businesses are a front for some Chinese money from somewhere because none of those shops have any customers any time of day, but they're all still running.
True.
Never thought about that?
The Sandwich Baron and...
No, that's still fine. I'm talking about those Chinese shops inside the center, down at the bottom there.
Yeah.
There's like these 3 shops. They all sell the same stuff. That's
like a whole mixture of stuff.
Yeah, and like children's party stuff and like
underwear,
ceramics,
and
everything.
Ottomans.
And then curtain stuff. And you're like...
So this underworld stuff has been happening for a very long time, okay? and it's only coming to the fore now with investigative journalists who aren't affiliated to any super powerful wealthy people. Like that Ground Up thing found a guy who claimed to have been burnt to death in a cell. Out.
That was in the news now. It was like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
It's crazy. It's like a movie.
And did you see there's this one dude who's like a diamond dealer or something? This was also in the news this weekend. He's Liebenberg or something. And he is like the one who's sponsored Carl Niehaus's holiday, and he pays for some EFF stuff. And you're like, why is this guy doing that? Why is he like giving the EFF millions of rands and paying for, I mean, Carl Niehaus has got to be the most unpopular politician in the whole world.
So what power does he wield?
I don't know. I mean, he must be getting something back, right? He wouldn't just be doing this because Carl's a nice guy. It does boggle my mind when you hear these stories.
I think
about these
you've got to
underworld.
be like math smart.
But also just like street smart. I'm not, when I hear about these people embezzling money and making all these complicated deals, I know I couldn't be a criminal.
Yes.
Because that's the stuff that I read about and I'm surprised about. It doesn't make logical sense to me. It's not like I wake up and think, oh, well, today I need to do this and embezzle person to do that and make money.
I would say I'm street smart, but I'm not math smart like an actuary. So I don't know the first thing about money laundering. And it seems to be a lot of money laundering happening because there's also an Al Jazeera thing.
Yes.
With gold and Dubai
and these guys
Zimbabwe.
They're so good at it.
How? I don't know how to embezzle money because I buy something. I go to an expensive nightclub in Sandton and I buy something. How have I embezzled? Because they gave me what confusing.
These people who can launder money through a business. Now, I mean, it's really got to be big money, and there's got to be stuff there that you have to be a smart maths person. I'm not. You know, I have to use my calculator.
We don't even know what date
I have to use my calculator to figure out like 10% of.
Yeah.
So 10% should be easy for me to calculate, but anyway, Lungile says here, I never thought I'd hear the day when Trevor Gumbi warns Gareth to think carefully about what he wants to say.
That was funny. Thanks, Lungile.
So, all right, dude, what's been going down? I mean, like, what's happening with you? I mean,
what has been happening?
Yeah, fill us in because it's been a little while. We haven't caught up for some time.
Oh, so I'm very happy. I'm married again. You know that,
That's
right?
Excellent. Yes.
The new wife.
Wow,
yes, new one.
Yeah. We celebrated 3 years on Saturday.
That's fantastic. And listen, you guys got married at COVID time.
The day before the hard lockdown started.
Right.
We got married the day before. And then we were
That's a hell of a stress test
for a
relationship.
strain on the beginning of a marriage.
Pressure.
But not a strain on my bank accounts because no honeymoon trip.
That's true. That's true. You could just say, well,
look outside. There's cops. And
possible.
Have you done it since? Something.
You shut your dirty mouth because she's listening.
All right. Well, this is very exciting.
Yeah, I know. So Saturday, I was very excited. We made it to 3 years. It was our anniversary. And I had bought her gift a month ago and hid it in the house. I hid it very well. And I got it out for her Saturday morning, gave it to her. It was all very nice. Yeah.
But now you can't drink because you've been 5 months sober. So.
That's the thing. I'm experiencing new things. I'll talk to you about that just now.
All right.
So then I buy her that, and then she's like, oh, thank you. Then I'm like,
oh, you didn't get a... No.
Then she says, I'll get your gift later. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I go sulk in the lounge watching UNCA, and she comes out after having showered and says, okay, bye, I'm going to wax. I'm like, oh, now I know what I'm getting.
That's very good. Well, that's a loving wife.
No, but she did actually get me something. She got me a nice pair of expensive jeans, and I'm very happy because it's on my wish list.
All right, so are we saving this discussion around the new things you're experiencing for the psychologist, or are we going to have this conversation now?
No, we can have it now.
Because we got Dr. Hanan coming in like 15 minutes.
A hack!
Go on.
I say that because your producer called me and I was like, you need to get topics for... No.
We wanted to know if there was anything, and we just assumed in your case there would be.
awful.
All right. So what's the story with the new experiences now that you're not drinking?
So I think it's a way that I'm keeping myself motivated off of liquor, but I've realized that so I stopped on the 7th of November. My birthday is on the 23rd of November. I thought it was going to be a huge thing for me not drinking on my birthday, but then I realized I've not had a sober birthday for close to 25 years, 25 years more.
Wow.
Never had a sober birthday in 25 years. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me try it. I did it. Wasn't so bad. Then I was like, okay, December's coming up. It's
That's
the
gonna be
festive
tough,
season.
yeah.
My entire family from Umtata on my wife's side is coming up to our new house, and they're going to be here, and it's going to be fun. And what we do is always drink. Then I would realize I've never had a sober Christmas or sober Boxing Day or sober New Year's in 25 years. Let me try it. And that has been happening. So like this marriage anniversary, I've never had a sober marriage anniversary ever. So I tried
It's like a first for everything.
Yes, because I know how it ends every time. You know, I go to a shisanyama, I'm like, let me drink. I'm like, should I drink? How does that end? Oh, yes, I know how that ends. But I don't know how it ends if I'm sober. So that keeps me motivated.
Do you, because I'm listening to you now, and there are a couple of people I know who've just decided to not get drunk anymore. They're like, I'm not drinking. I'm not going to be doing this.
There's a way of not getting drunk. You can drink and not get drunk.
Well, but
Just
even
drink and have a line.
So a lot
sobers you up so well.
So a lot of these people, like friends of mine who, have been like people I've been drinking with for years. And then some of them say they're not drinking anymore and they stick to it. And I'm almost at the point where I could be convinced to do the same. Like I almost want to try it just for the experience part of it. Give it a couple of months, weeks, whatever it is, because I'm not going to be a Nazi. I'm not doing it for health reasons or because I'm trying to get away from something.
But there are people who can drink and it's not a problem.
Yeah, I think I've been one of those. But you've seen me drinking. I'm never a messy,
not sloppy.
Yeah, but I think I could even tidy up a bit more. It's that I read the most interesting thing over the weekend. I want to hear your thoughts on this, Trevor, and yours, Leigh-Ann, because even though it's to do with men, the thing is that this guy put an article together about why men are attracted to danger. And it's basically about how guys, if their job is too safe and their family and their marriage is too safe and their friends are too safe, they actively seek danger. Like a lot of guys
White people.
No, a lot of guys do
immediately I was thinking of like those places in America where you can fling axes and you can like bash cars.
Rage rooms.
Yeah, like rage rooms.
But this is not about like acting out. It's that you actually have this craving because life has become, obviously places like Ukraine, it's not in Congo or whatever. But here and in much of the world now, it's become soft to be a guy. And even though that's something we should aspire to, it's something good. We don't want to put ourselves in danger. Deep down inside, though, there's a part of you that goes, I need a bit.
But also the dangers are different now, aren't they? The type of danger that you sense is
lifestyle audits.
Lifestyle in general. Like the COVID crisis, for instance. Like battling, but dangerous to your livelihood and looking after your family because you may have lost your job or you couldn't perform in comedy or, your restaurant shut down. There's more of that, like an economic threat to your family, danger, not having your job.
It's not the same. The article was about how physical danger makes a guy feel like he's got a job to do.
Purpose, yeah.
It's got something real happening in his. I mean, it might not be true for everybody, but certainly the gist of this thing was you have to have a little bit of adrenaline going on, whether it's doing things like rage rooms or bungee jumping or whatever else. If that gives you enough of a thrill, cool.
I think it's an economic thing.
It could.
And I'm saying economic thing because I don't want to say it's a white thing. It's people who don't live in constant danger, like you live in the suburbs. You don't live in a dangerous location. So you will go bungee jumping. Not many black people go bungee jumping. So let's say economics. Not many well-off or middle-class people.
Yeah, I think it's a class thing. I think it ceased to be a race thing because you could see also, look, it hasn't ceased. I mean, obviously, there's still more black people living in like really awful situations than there are white. But, there are there are these
I think you both are right.
there are these middle class people who's all over the world. We're not just talking about here. We're talking about in North America and Europe and Asia and everywhere. These guys are seeking out this danger and they're doing dumb shit to create trouble because subconsciously they crave the danger. So they'll go out and like try and pick up a hooker, or
it's also
they'll go out and
drug thing.
do drugs, or they'll and they'll put huge things in their life in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because they want to live on that edge.
Yeah.
Like self-sabotaging almost.
Yeah. There's a TikTok guy who, at a place like Bounce in America, I think, goes on the trampolines and throws off weights, like gym weights.
Oh,
and he bounces with them, and they might hit him or might not hit him.
Oh, God.
You know? So, yes, I think you both are right. It is a danger with economics, with losing your job and being able to provide. And it also is a class thing. These people, they live it safe. They've got everything safe. So they put themselves in jeopardy to feel a thrill of,
well,
what if I lose it?
Dumi says here, I fully agree with this, Gareth. I have to do something wild and out of my comfort zone regularly because life is just too predictable. Mountain biking, bungee, free falling, anything to do with danger makes me feel alive.
Oh my God. How did you figure out MTB so quickly to be mountain biking?
Because it's mountain biking.
Yeah, but it's MTB. I would not have thought of that.
I love this. Somebody had a comment for you here. They say, it's Famous Mama. She says, well done. I'm so proud of you. I don't drink anymore either for the last 2 years. I'm just enjoying life. Not for any reasons. It's a choice just to do and be better. The worst. You see, Jared says the worst is when you go to a party where people are super drunk and you're sober. It's very off-putting.
It's horrible.
Exactly.
Especially if you have like social anxiety. It's horrible.
Have you been to parties like that before?
Yes.
So what do you do? Because I don't know what to do at
people
a party.
People are so irritating
because I don't
when it's like that.
I don't dance.
Yeah.
I don't I don't want to get into heavy conversations with everybody all the time. You go and you have drinks together. That's what we do as South Africans.
That was my party trick.
So what do you do?
The amount of drinks I have was my party trick.
What do you do at a party?
Be awkward and miserable.
Really? And it's shit.
Remember, I stopped in November and then I had family over at my house in December and everyone was drinking copious amounts of liquor. And I didn't know how to handle it then. I was too fresh into it and I was still battling my own addictions at the time and my own
So what did you do?
Triggers.
Did you sit and watch them?
I had to. Because when I go to my room, then people notice, oh, he's not here. Somebody get Trevor.
No. And that's the worst because if you're out somewhere, you can make an excuse and go home.
Yeah.
But when it's in your own home, I remember living in a complex. Was when I first got married and we all knew each other and we were all friends. And
cool. You and the partner. Of course you know each other.
Yeah, I knew my husband at the time. But if we went out, if I was on a non-drinking spree and I left the party at whoever's house within the complex, and I go home, people would come and knock on the door. Come on, Leigh-Ann, come back to the party. No. That feeling where and I remember at one stage barricading the door with like chairs and things.
What kind of like hard drinking friends did you have?
Well, it was my husband and my friends at the time.
It wasn't only liquor. Come on. Shame the devil.
No, you're right. Other things were going on, but I actually didn't know at the stage. But that you just want to retreat and get away from people like that when you're sober.
You know, even at parties where I'm the host, if I've had enough, I just go to bed.
Yeah, I tried that. Yeah.
I just go to bed. I mean,
leave them there.
I'm not inviting people who are like animals. So I know that they'll mostly look after the place.
Yeah.
Plus, they're not going to last that much longer.
Yeah.
Because it's like, now it's time. I'll go to sleep. Don't feel bad about that at all.
That's presuming they're going to stay at your place, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I try as well. But then I've still got anxiety from when I did that the last time in Chartwell. We had a farm in Chartwell. That's when we had a home invasion. And I was in bed when the guys came in. So I stay in bed and I'm like thinking, oh shit, what's happening? Then I have to go check the cameras.
Yeah.
And then everything's black and white. So you got to look carefully. Earmuffs help when you're around drunk people because the slurring is not only audio, It's actual saliva flinging
I
into.
hate that.
Yeah,
I'm
and
so with
everyone
you.
wants to speak so close. Yeah, and it's loud, but they're
Yeah.
whispering. Now come here, yo, Leanne. Yo, don't tell him, but Joshua.
About 3 weeks ago, there was a guy talking to me here like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the worst thing because you sort of turn your head because now
Uh-huh.
you don't want them spraying the saliva directly into your face.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have it hit the side of your head in case you don't want to go in your mouth and your nose,
your
you know,
eyes.
and your eyes. So you turn and then afterwards you're like you can wipe your ear and it would be like, oh God, it's disgusting. Aren't these people aware of?
And why is it awkward though for you, the spits ear, the person who's been spat on? Why is it awkward for you to wipe it off?
Well,
Because
You kind of leave it there. And
why?
you can feel it there and you just don't do anything about it.
Why?
Jesus.
Gareth's the type of person to wipe it off and say,
I would definitely.
and say, please don't spit on me again.
You just
That's
spat on me, you
that's
cow.
his personality.
Yeah.
But the rest of us normal humans, we just
We sit
take
there and
it.
hope that it evaporates.
like a mouth bukkake.
Oh, people wanted to call. You can phone us, by the way. We are taking live calls. So if you want to do that, you can hit us on 083-2955-769. We had to put a 69 at the end of that because people love it.
I'm going to ignore that because you guys ignored my bukkake comments. Like,
Are you getting nervous? This is the second time you've said you didn't respond to a joke the way that you wanted us to. Is this
Awful.
a sober man thing?
I think so.
Because the drunk Trevor never gave a shit.
fucking care. Oh, where?
Oh my God. All right. So they're asking for the number 083-2955-769. Go on.
There's somebody having a meltdown on my WhatsApp group.
Why?
I've got a neighborhood WhatsApp group. I live in a proper suburb now, and it's like I got there and they gave me like that what do you call that puffy jacket?
Yeah, I know the ones you mean. I got mine at Uniqlo, so I call it my Uniqlo.
Yeah,
it's the same thing whether you buy it at whatever shop. So those things filled with like goose down or whatever. Yeah.
Make
you look like the Michelin Man.
Wear and everything.
Yes.
So we've got a WhatsApp group. It's mostly security and whatnot. And this one guy's having a total meltdown because his electricity's been out for 24 hours because we had a tree fall and pull out cables. And he's like, I'm the only one. It's like, my power's not back. And like, okay, we've told the ward councillor. Ward councillor has told City Power. And that's as much as we can do.
By the way, can I just point out how fantastic that is?
What?
Because you've got a WhatsApp group. Now, I hate them as much as everybody does. But we've also got one in our neighborhood. And the ward councillor's on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've never been so accountable in their lives.
Like, I actually feel sorry for them.
We didn't know who our ward councillors were before.
Yeah.
And also, if we didn't know where they lived. We didn't know how to get to them. We didn't know. Would you write a letter
to the news or write a letter to the newspaper?
I mean,
or phone a journalist.
Now you can actually say to your ward councillor,
the Santon Chronicle.
Yeah,
but isn't that cool?
It is cool.
It is.
Let's just
But
take
they're
stock
also
of how great that is.
They're being called out when they're like people will say they know this person's on the group. Like say his name's Tony, and they'll say, well, can't rely on Tony these days.
Poor Tony.
Yeah.
By the way, Yonda's got a problem with me. He says, Gareth, you missed the Naidu joke as well. Trevor, you must now start a new thing to stop drinking. Stop thinking about having a drink.
Okay. Yonda and Diki.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, a lot of these people also talking about how they miss you doing your show that you used to do here, which is still.
I missed that show too.
That was the wildest thing ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
We got to figure out a way of getting me back on doing something.
Well,
maybe weekly.
We can talk about that for sure. Yonda says, since you stopped drinking, your voice is sounding feminine.
You shut your dirty mouth, Yonda. I do this on purpose.
It's so great. Some of us have not had power for the last 4 days, says Hardy Dave. He says others have had no water for a week. Some others have lost their homes due to flooding. Woe is me.
Oh,
crazy out there,
bad.
folks.
Jesus.
It really is.
Stupid weather, raining.
Well, it was so weird on Saturday it rained.
It
was like
it's
low.
not supposed to be raining right now.
It's not,
and
right?
It's like storming and flooding.
What do you mean it's not supposed to be raining?
It's supposed to be autumn.
What?
Is there something you know that I'm pretty sure it rained at Easter last year.
Really?
I I think so, but you are right. Like normally, this wouldn't be the thing that we do.
No, it's supposed to start drying up
the
now.
rain. All right. Well, if we're starting to talk about the weather, we need to get ready for Dr. Hanan because that's a bad sign.
Why? Why is that a bad sign? You're such a radio Nazi.
Talk about the weather? You really want to talk about the weather?
No.
Okay, let me show you this quickly before we get to Dr. Hanan. In medieval Spain, bankers who became bankrupt were publicly disgraced by town authorities and even given nothing but bread and water to eat until the creditors were paid off. After a year, if bankers failed to pay, they would be beheaded and their property would be sold off to pay them. Now, isn't that a great idea?
Whew.
I'm just thinking with this Silicon Valley Bank thing that happened in America, and if you think about bankers in this country, if a bank goes under now, the government gives them money. I reckon we should go back to this. Behead them and sell their shit to the people who they owe money to.
Wow.
Don't you think?
No, bankers are actually quite soft. They are soft people. Don't take it because they ride Harleys on a Sunday that they're hardcore. No, they're just a bunch of soft accountants who can afford a Harley. Don't do that.
Some stuff we can bring back. I want to see bankers held to account too, not just the petty criminals. Like you get arrested for like dealing in weed or whatever. Those guys always go to jail. But bankers don't.
I don't understand much about it for me to have an opinion. Like, what is Silicon Valley? I understand it's a geographical place, but why is it called Silicon Valley? Does it have to do with breast augmentation?
No, that's silicone. Silicon is the element on the periodic table. Silicone is the stuff they use for breast augmentation.
Yeah, but you don't need to rub your chest doing it.
Yeah, he's rubbing his titties.
Yeah, I know. That was too much. What a graphic description. I don't sign up for this.
Have I put you off so early in the morning?
If anything, we came to see Gareth rub his titties this morning.
I'm so aroused.
Silicone has got an E at the end of it. That is the stuff they use to fill the fake titties. Silicon is the element on the periodic table they make microchips out of. And the reason it's called Silicon Valley is because that is the place where Hewlett-Packard, the computer company, first opened their business. They were at Stanford, Hewlett and Packard opened their business, and the place where their head office was called Silicon Valley. So that's where the whole name comes from. And Silicon Valley Bank is named after that. So it's like a long chain of causality. But there we go. That's how it works.
I want you on my 30 seconds team.
Pub quiz for the win.
But I get so competitive.
Do you?
I'm no fun at all. You don't want to play any of those games with me. I get furious if I don't win. And if the teammate lets me down, I'm like, no, you fucking idiot.
They say don't play with your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should not do that. Speaking of they say, we've got Dr. Hanan here, who is our live-in psychologist. He's also one who gives us the right info to start our week, because everyone. Dr. Hanan, I saw the most brilliant thing on, I think it was South Park, where this doctor goes up to these kids and he goes, "Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Whoever, and I have a foolproof way to get kids who have ADHD to stop having ADHD without giving them medicine." And he goes and he hits them on the head and says, "Do your work." Everybody's got mental health issues these days. Yeah, this is why we've got to have you on. All right, so listen, Trevor said he has something he needs to discuss with you, but that wasn't the agenda. I mean, is there something you want to bring up with him?
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Hanan. How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. I love your fake book thing behind you. Makes you look quite well read. So I want to talk about escapism, because I feel like the belief structures that we have are there to keep us away from our current reality, like belief structures from religion to conspiracy theories. Like there is a better life after this, like heaven in Christianity, or I think it's Hinduism with the reincarnation thing. Like you'll have another chance at this. Or people who believe that we are here on a prison colony serving out a sentence dished out to us by our lizard overlords. What is it about living here on earth in reality that we need to escape so much by having these belief structures.
I'm guessing that you think it's all bullshit.
I do.
Okay.
I don't like reality, and I'm trying to figure out why do I daydream so much about a better existence.
What do you think that is, Doc? Because I don't think he's alone. I think there are a lot of people who feel this way.
So, guys, it's a good question, and it reminds me of a really great story by, I don't know if you've heard of the philosopher 300 years ago by the name of Immanuel Kant. And Immanuel Kant was asked by one of... Yeah, K-A-N-T, right. And it's an interesting one because he was asked by one of his disciples 300 years ago, what's the role of a philosopher? And he gave the very famous cave metaphor. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the cave metaphor, but this is how it works. He said, imagine people tied to a cave wall. Their heads are bound, their hands are bound. The only thing they can see is the wall in front of them. Behind them, there's a hole in the wall and a fire going on. So the only thing that the people can see, the ones that are bound on the wall, the only thing that they can see are the shadows of the real world reflected in front of them. So they're seeing shadows going back and forth and back and forth. And because that's the only thing that they've been exposed to, they think the shadows are real. And he said the role of the philosopher is to unshackle these people, make them look behind them and see the real world. But he said something quite interesting. He said, the moment you try to unshackle these people, they will refuse. People want to believe what they want to believe. They don't want to be complicated by anything, whether it's real or unreal. They just want to go back to familiarity. He also said, the moment you force people to look behind them, they will burn you at the stake. Because again, if you force people to believe something more complicated than their real beliefs, they will absolutely rebel and they will burn you at the stake. And 300 years ago, they did that. But he also said that if you make people look long enough at the real world, they could never go back to believing the shadows are real. Now, the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because we all have belief structures that makes our world make sense to us. And the truth is, if you try to convince people whether it's the truth or ill truth, what is the truth? What do you know that nobody else knows that is fact? The reality is that people want to make sense of their world in a way that allows them to function in reality in a way that makes them functional. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel secure. So to answer your question, yes, people create belief structures. We all have shadows. We all believe our shadows are real. You walk into the world and you have your shadows to believe in, and you watch that, and you think that's real, and that's great because it makes sense to you. The moments your shadows no longer make sense to you, that is when it is your job to unshackle yourself and look at a different belief system that makes sense to you, and you're able to justify your existence and make meaning and purpose in what you're seeing in front of you.
All right, so Doc, on this topic, because I mean, I've got lots of friends who've been doing, mushroom trips and ketamine infusions and ayahuasca and whatever it is, because they want to escape looking at the cave wall. They want to see things from a different point of view, and they think sometimes substances are going to allow them to do this. And it might be substances, it might be practices like meditation or whatever. But Trevor's question is not coming out of nowhere. I mean, Leigh-Ann still believes in the tooth fairy, for heaven's sake. What is the best way to get yourself to come face to face with reality and then move forward positively? Because, I mean, you don't want to be one of those people who's stuck looking at the cave wall, believing in the shadows. And you also don't want to be one of those people who burns other people at the stake because they're trying to show you another way.
Yeah. But you know what, Gareth, who doesn't believe the shadows are real? You got your shadows, I've got my shadows, Trevor, Leigh-Ann, you got your shadows. And the moment it makes sense to you, the moment you can go to bed at night and go, I am happy, I'm fulfilled, I find meaning in my existence, then go ahead and believe that the tooth fairy is real. So I don't have any issues somebody saying to me, I believe what I believe, as long as it doesn't affect, I'm a great believer of live and let live. If your beliefs make sense to you and you're able to make sense and meaning of that, that is your belief. But the moment You go to bed and in your naked self, say to yourself, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. Something is missing. Then don't bullshit yourself into believing that the shadows are real. I always tell people, subordinate your ego. Don't allow your ego and the cut my nose to spike my face story to make you believe the shadows are real just for the sake of believing that that's true at the expense of your own happiness. If you're happy, obviously whatever you're believing is wonderful. And if you're not, obviously start to question it and challenge that.
So what do you think of that answer?
Oh, I love it. I love it. That naked state thing, it makes total sense to me. Besides the fact that Doctor doesn't afford pajamas, he sleeps naked. It makes sense that when it starts to consume you that much, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know. So if I'm getting you right, Doctor, it's have your belief system, but once it starts affecting you in a negative way and affecting people around you in a negative way, that's a problem. Like when people say, "Oh, what do you call people who don't believe in anything?"
Atheists.
Atheists.
Yeah.
Atheists are the ones who want to tell everybody I don't believe in anything. But that in itself is a belief that you have to tell everybody I don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Absolutely
Doc. That makes total sense to me, because I realize now why so many people enjoy things like The Matrix, because it's an escape from what we are, and for an hour and a half, it gives you an escape to say this is not real, you know.
But I mean, you've drawn on the Matrix comparison, which I hear people using a lot these days. You know, that person's so much in the Matrix or whatever. But I mean,
who are you talking
but
to?
it is a movie. I mean, like the fact is also movies are a kind of escapism, and for some people, it's playing games. You know, some people like playing video games all day because it gives them an escapism.
Either escapism or numbing. And speaking of alcohol, that's a big thing as well. When you just don't want to think about
You got to point at me when you speak about alcohol, Leanne? Is that what we're going to do?
It was
That's where
actually
your spirit is.
a me and you
6
thing.
o'clock on a Monday morning, that's where your spirit is. Nice.
Trust me, I'm including myself in the category.
All right, but Doc, is it true that those are all forms of escapism and that they're all equally good and bad depending on how you approach them?
You know, I had an interesting conversation with a patient of mine on Friday. We were talking about ChatGPT.
Doctor, patience,
and he said to me,
privacy.
I'm not mentioning names.
All right, go on.
So he or she said that they will not use ChatGPT because it feels like cheating. And I said to this person that, you know, we have a lot of resources in front of us, and you should use whatever resource you have in front of you to make you better. I used coffee, and I was drinking a cup of coffee at the time. And I said, I'm using coffee to make me better. We sometimes use movies to lift our moods and make ourselves better. So my point to you is, if whatever the resource in front of you is there, is available to you to make you better, not at the cost of your other anchors, which I'll highlight in a second, then use it. Go for it. Don't shy away from it. Nobody wins a prize at the end of their lives going, I did it on my own. Nobody does it on their own. Even if you do, you don't want to win a prize for it. Use your resources to make you better. And Trevor, to your point, in life we have what I call 8 anchors, 8 pillars that you must consider when you make your decisions. Your career, which is your sense of purpose, your financial security, your family, your friends, your romantic partner, diet, exercise, and sleep, which is your health. These 8 pillars must be considered when you make a decision. So we were talking about fat shaming last week, guys, and we were saying that it's not just you that needs to make a decision. Well, you know, like a lot of people say, it's my life. I can do whatever I want. If I want to drink, I can drink. If I want to smoke, I can smoke. If I want to eat nonsense, I can eat rubbish. It's my life, leave me alone. But no, it's not your life. You live in a community of people, and your behavior and your decisions has an impact on other people. You're not just responsible for you and you alone. You're responsible for the community that you've created and you've built on. So therefore, whenever you make a decision, consider those things around. Not ask yourself, am I happy, but is my community flourishing? My community in terms of my purpose, financial security, family, friends, romantic, diet, exercise, and sleep.
Well, there we go. Those 8 pillars. We got to write that stuff down.
Can I say a quick thing about that ChatGPT thing? Because it plays a huge role in my career as a writer. And as a journalist, I've had to use the tool, and I'm using it for so many things, and it's just amazing. It's unbelievable. And that guilt is there. So now we're at the point as creatives and as writers of getting together and saying, okay, what is the limit? How far do we use this tool, etc. But the other day I was thinking, when Google first came out, we felt like we were cheating when we looked things up.
Yeah.
It was like, we can't use
Good
that
point.
at school, because now it's a tool. It makes you better. It doesn't dumb you down because you're not going to a library and reading physical words anymore. It's made us better. Look, before that, when traveling salesmen got their contacts and made their sales by walking from door to door and knocking on the door, all of a sudden they were presented with a phone book of so many phone numbers.
Right.
It was like a Google to them. They felt like they were cheating. But in my day as a salesman, we did it the hard way. We walked from door to door. What did it do? It improved their sales and improved their lives and improved the economy. That's the same as ChatGPT, and that's how we have to kind of get over the guilt of it. You can't feel guilty for using Google. You could even go as far as to say you're stupid if you don't use Google.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I mean, it just removes an extra thing that you don't want to have to feel guilty about, because there's enough shit in the world that people try to make you feel guilty about. And some of us end up falling for that and some not. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a
This
tool.
opens the door to cybernets taking over the world through there.
Listen,
Arnold
if they do a better
Schwarzenegger
job than
looking
what
Terminators.
people are doing now, then they
Go
can
for it.
go
Yeah.
for it.
All right. So Doc, I mean, basically, on Trevor's initial question about belief systems, whatever you're doing, as long as it's not causing harm or negative effects on your or other people's lives, then it's a good thing. Go with it, even if it is shadows on the cave wall.
Yeah, nobody has authority on the truth. Nobody knows the truth. We all believe our shadows. And if these shadows make you better with all these 8 pillars, go for it, believe it, dive into it, immerse yourself in it.
Love it. Thank you. There's Dr. Hanan. Monday morning, it's going to be okay, as always. We'll see you next week, Doc.
See you next week. Bye, guys.
Awesome. There he is.
He's great.
He's a great resource. Huh?
He's so easy to speak to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, I've been to therapy, and like at first it was very difficult to open up to people because it's like,
They're going
it's
to
like a
judge
witch.
me. Yeah.
You
But
can
especially-
see inside me.
Especially you, though, because they might also be a fan, and you can't have a fan as a therapist, and people know your name. Like, well, you have to search high and low to find a therapist who's not a fan.
Yeah.
And then they're going to sit there and you're going to try and make them laugh because that's your coping mechanism. And then they're not going to get to solve your problem.
Yeah, they realized that at rehab.
Mhm.
The rehab that actually did work, which was my third at Houghton House.
Yeah.
So a rule I had, because they realized that my coping mechanism is humor.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to joke at all.
Oh, really?
Like I'd get punished for joking. Like
Trevor, this isn't funny. Take this seriously.
are you joking?
Yeah.
And one more week at 80,000 Rand.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I was
because,
punished. Like,
because otherwise he wouldn't have taken it seriously.
yeah, I kept just evading. I just keep evading topics.
Mm.
And people have different kind of coping mechanisms. They shut down, like fights with my wife, for example, because it's the only person I care enough to fight with.
Right.
It's if I've caught her unawares, she's like a cat in a corner. She will come out, claws out.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Pounce.
Yeah. And you just have to cover your face and your nuts long enough for her to calm down.
I mean, she has 5 weapons at that point.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So not in a physical way, just the fight. I'm just explaining the fight. It will start out very hectic, and then after a while, she's going to calm down, and then you can have the conversation.
Mm.
And then when we have the conversation, I realize 5 minutes in, I was wrong, and I need to apologize to her, and then it's over.
I just want to throw this in quickly before we take a break, because KB says, last month I used ChatGPT to write a letter for my salary increase I wanted after disputing what was proposed. The money came in on Friday.
Lovely.
Wow.
Oh, KB.
Praise be.
That's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Praise be to KB.
Hell yeah.
I wanted
All right.
to ask Leigh-Ann, though, with the writing. Okay.
Yeah.
With the
Can
writing.
we save this for just no? Because we got to take a break.
No. Are you asking or telling?
Well,
He's kind of telling.
Let me take a break and we'll
Fine.
come back to this. Let's save something for just now. All right, it's just after 7, cliffcentral.com.
Just because it's about technology, connecting your business to the rest of the world doesn't mean you need to send rockets to space and use complicated solutions. Want to simplicate things? Well, join Jaco Voigt, who is the CEO of Catalytic, on the Unbundled podcast. With skin in the game and a keen focus on educating and assisting you and your business, Jaco decodes all the aspects of connectivity, security, and cloud solutions. Unbundled is brought to you by Catalytic and is available on cliffcentral.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
The F1 season has come back, and obviously we've had the first race. Do you have any sort of high-level thoughts on what you've seen so far?
You know what? I feel like putting on a green jersey, not for the Springboks
Yep, for Aston Martin.
or Aston Martin. I am rooting for them this year. I think I am an Aston Martin fan. And I thought about this because I said at the end of last year, I was going to potentially, switch sides. Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
All right, cliffcentral.com, Monday morning. It's almost the end of March. We've got Easter coming up in a little while.
Yay, Easter bunny time.
Oh, chocolate. Jesus. I'm not a big chocolate person, but I ate some over the weekend and now I got to go to gym. I just feel like that's not a good place to
Is
start.
that natural? You look good.
No, dude. I haven't been to gym for 2 weeks now because I wasn't feeling well a week ago and then I just didn't have a chance. Last week was chaos.
Right.
Yeah, 3-day week and then everything gets squeezed into the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and I was just exhausted. Friday night I got home and I just went to bed at like 9 o'clock on a Friday.
It's okay.
I don't feel bad. I loved it. I'm only too happy, but it shows you like there was a lot squeezed in there. All right. So you wanted to ask Leigh-Ann something. I think it had to do with ChatGPT or something.
Oh, I forgot.
You ready? Oh, God. Now you've you upset everybody because they were waiting for something there.
So I wanted to find out from Leigh-Ann because she's using it and she's using it for writing. Okay. I want to know when it comes to creative writing, what do you think about using it for creative writing when it comes to scripts? Because I write scripts, right? TV and movie scripts. Do you think that is a cheat, unlike Googling information? Is it cheating because it will take away a lot of hard work in the script writing process? And then all that's left for me is to go back and add little Trevor
Creative bits from you.
You know,
That's-
even
yeah.
writing a novel, I could say, ChatGPT, write me a novel about my love affair with Leigh-Ann and the complex she lived in with her husband and drug addict friends.
Yeah.
God, that would be fun.
So
What a great movie that would be.
I know exactly how you're thinking. And the first time I used it, that was the guilt that plagued me. But then I realized it was shaving off so much time that I had more time to add the Leigh-Ann-ness. I had more time to add the creativity and make it my own. I also, from a technical point of view, didn't have to, so if I was writing for social media, perhaps, I didn't have to worry about what hashtags were included or how long the script was. I could then go back and have more time. So, I mean, are you, and again, I compare it to this, would you feel guilty if you Googled something and got the answer, and rather than going to the library and searching through the catalogs and the books?
No.
We need to make it a tool that makes us better. Even if it turns out a letter saying, please, can I have a raise? We learn from that letter because we're not just going to send it. We're going to read it. And our brains will now know how to write a letter for that in future. If that's not a great learning tool, then I don't know.
I love using it and I haven't used it a lot because it may be more helpful to both of you than it is to me at this point, because we really don't know what we're going to do on the show. Honest to God, this show happens.
No, we never have.
This is like a live ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I did try the other day. I said, like, come up with a conversation between me and I think it was Lebang, who does the show with me on a Tuesday. And it came up with this boring ass conversation. It was like, hey, Gareth, it's great to see you. Yes.
But then your prompts were wrong.
Too. No. Well, I know. I haven't refined. I'm the unrefined process here. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't see how that thing is going to catch up anytime soon to that. But look at this. I asked it now while we were sitting here. I'm like, tell me what happens in chapter 8 of Tolstoy's War and Peace. Okay. Which is a book this fat, which you don't want to read. It's a hard read. It's about Russian politics. And it gives me a breakdown, but like a paragraph or 3, right? Goes in chapter 8 of Tolstoy's War and Peace, titled The Battle of Borodino, the long-awaited battle between the Russian and French armies finally takes place. But dude, isn't this more helpful than actually reading it?
It is.
And then you want to talk about the book. I mean, I watched a movie the other night and I knew it had to do with history. So I looked up the book that the movie was based on ChatGPT and said, give me a summary. And there was like an executive précis
No, it's
of
fantastic.
what the actual history of the book and the events were. And then I could get on with the movie without having to do mountains of reading and research that I would have done before.
We have to just see it as a tool that's moving us forward. I mean, I look at this, something simple. And it's, again, it's the guilt in the beginning. I was writing for a nursery, like a garden nursery.
Oh, yeah.
A social media post about
Well,
raspberry.
you have all the sexy assignments, don't you?
Hugely.
Raspberry
Well,
jam.
listen how this makes this sexy.
Yeah.
About raspberry fruit bushes that they were selling.
Oh. Ooh.
And I thought, let me just try something quick, because I've done long form things like write me a proposal for a campaign, a summer campaign for this. I just said, can you, because one of the things about the prompting, and we can maybe get to prompting, is you need to ask it if it can.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There are a whole lot of tips. So I said, can you create a sentence describing raspberry fruit bushes in a creative way? It came back. The rubies of the garden, raspberry fruit bushes glisten with their luscious crimson jewels, enticing all who pass by to pluck their succulent treasures.
Wow.
I mean, that is amazing, okay?
Not bad.
Then do I copy and paste that?
Yeah.
No, I take elements from it. I love the words, the rubies of the garden. I loved
Succulent.
enticing, you
That's
to
like
pluck.
the word moist for me.
Have I now cheated? or am I going to, every time I write about raspberries in future, those words are going to come to my mind. Crimson jewels.
Well,
I've learned something.
Okay, so I asked it something interesting. I said, what temperature should my balls be at?
Oh, but that's a Google question, Gareth.
But it's a great question. Don't you want to know?
No.
You don't want to know what
Because
temperature your
then what
balls
if
should?
I'm in inclement weather and I can't control that?
So the normal temperature for the testicles is around 34 to 35 degrees.
What?
But
They
that's
are-
a Google thing.
They're located outside the body for. But come on, what am I going to talk to ChatGPT? I'm not writing an assignment like you. I have
Hold
to
up.
talk to it about something.
Is it free?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's free.
Do you have to download something?
No.
No.
It's just a website.
It's like going to Google.
Where do you find it?
Just
search
go OpenAI. I'll give you the
Or
address.
just search ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Huh?
You can do it now.
Chat.openai.com. Yeah, you can ask it any.
No,
you
I want to do it in the privacy of my masturbatorium.
What are you going to ask it? I want to know what the
It's
first question
private.
is. What is the first question Trevor Gumbi's going to ask ChatGPT?
Okay, here's another example. Is there a better way to write this Google My Business description? I said, and I pasted in stuff about this nursery. It came back and said, overall, your description is good. However, you could consider these things, use more engaging language, bring in a bit more personality, use some bullet points to make it easier to read and digest, focus on the benefits. What are your unique selling points? That's all so helpful and makes me learn.
Shit. All right. You've got me confused.
Huh.
I was pretty sure I wouldn't be using this, but I think I'm going to be using it all the time. And it takes some of the drudgery away. Like you spoke about writing a script. Like there's so much stuff there, come up with a dialogue for, and then you take it and you make it funny or you make it, because that's your thing.
Right.
That's the Trevor stuff that you were talking about. I think that's awesome. Save you time, dude.
Definitely.
I love the idea of anything that makes things more efficient. Jason Stiles says the English teacher won't have a job thanks to ChatGPT. That's not true.
Not true.
Because people are still going to have to learn how to ask. You
The
heard
prompts.
what Leigh-Ann said, the right questions. Like
Comprehension, yes.
that's a proper skill to have to ask the right questions or
Then
something.
there
Otherwise, you get the wrong answers.
There will be courses that you pay for where you learn how to prompt OpenChat or OpenAI or ChatGPT, all these AI tools. There are going to be courses on how to use them and what prompts to use.
So Cliff Centralist says masturbatorium.
Yeah.
You want to clarify what that is?
Oh,
Ow.
Ow.
that is a one-door room in which every single surface is laminated for easy wiping.
Oh, no.
It can house, it's a 4-man room, but it can be enjoyed alone. It's not for polite guests.
Yeah.
That's what a masturbatorium is. I've
What-
got one at the back of my house.
Is it like a sex dungeon?
Well, no, there's no one tied up in there physically.
Not right now.
Physically. It's all virtual.
It's all very virtual. So
Yeah.
Tulani wants to give me some shit here about, will Gareth admit about his story about a friend who had ChatGPT write his thesis and passed? I don't think I ever said I had a friend who wrote his thesis and
Not
passed.
a friend. You mentioned
I
that
had
you'd read
heard-
about it.
No, I'd heard about it from a YouTube video where someone was
Yes.
talking about ChatGPT.
Yes.
So, oh, my friend.
No.
But you can crack these things. Like I know people who have been able to fool the systems that are there to fish out the plagiarism.
Huh.
I mean, if I went and copied that and pasted that sentence about raspberries, there are tools that you can almost like reverse
Oh,
Google image
sure,
search that,
sure.
and it'll bring up a copyright.
Oh,
This is a
okay.
great.
This is what I wanted to ask about ChatGPT.
Yes, that one.
This thing. In the wrong hands, because it's a powerful tool. In the wrong hands, it could be used for evil doing. Like, I didn't know how to launder money at the beginning of this conversation.
You could ask it.
How do I successfully launder money in South Africa?
There, your prompt would be a bit different.
Can I?
No,
Can you?
show respect to the tool and you say, yeah, can you, or help me write a plan, put together a plan. In fact, there's an example in use already.
Help me put together a plan.
There's an example in use already where, and I don't have the facts in front of me, so I'm just going to use poetic license. But they asked ChatGPT to use, I think it was $1,000 to make me $100,000. And it came up with a full plan.
Wow.
It showed you how you can go to something like Fiverr.com, which is employing writers like me as freelancers. to put together copy for you. It then puts together a marketing plan. It brings out this full-on presentation that you can take to get funding.
Jesus.
And it actually made this person 100,000 rand.
Damn.
Or dollars. So
I have a
you're
feeling.
not far from the truth.
I have a feeling Trevor's masturbatorium is going to become his ChatGPT place.
It is.
That sounds amazing. All right, so here's a nice comment from Carl. He says, "I'm a 37-year-old man, but I saw Trevor in a prego roll queue at Ellis Park a few months
I
ago.
remember that.
I felt like a teenage girl meeting Justin Bieber."
I remember that. I was
What a
there to watch the rugby. What a
Nice.
great day.
That's very nice.
It was
Okay,
nice.
are you sure you don't need ChatGPT to break that one down, Trev? I'm not sure which thing exactly Cliff Centralist is talking about here. Trevor has left little Gumbis on every surface of his masturbatorium.
Oh my
Congo
God.
Chris.
Congo Chris.
All right, very good. So a couple of other things, like Leigh-Ann has a thing or two to tell us this morning. One of them is apparent exposure to other people's sweat can help reduce social anxiety.
Oh,
I know it sounds so gross.
It is gross. We were talking about people spitting in your ear earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know the whole thing about these chemicals being in sweat, right?
no.
Well, it's a chemical signal that we can
DNA.
send to each other. Not DNA so much, but more like hormonal. Like if you go and work out now, seems you appropriately dressed.
Thank you.
If there's something in your sweat or your body odor that attracts me to you, and believe me,
Chemical signals.
It
Yeah.
can. We're not
Pheromones.
just
Pheromones.
yes, we're not just thinking about the stink of sweat. There's just something in your body odor that it would attract me, or there's something that doesn't. That can very much have to do with it's a sense that a women have on whether or not it's going to be good to breed with this person. Like, will the pregnancy survive?
You've heard about
et cetera.
pheromones. I mean, like there's some people who, when they sweat, they don't smell horrible, and there's some people
to other people.
to other people.
Ah.
But there's some people who, when they sweat, they stink, and it all depends on like what the pheromones, the signals, the message signals in that smell are telling you. We were talking on Friday, I think it was, about how the sense of smell is one of our most unbelievably complex senses. I mean, all of them are complicated,
it can
but
smell chemical
millions,
signals.
but millions.
Yeah.
It's why, for example, certain things are extremely dangerous, and we can smell tiny, tiny concentrations of them. Dead things, for example, we can pick up the smell of death. You know, if something's dead in the roof or the floor or whatever, we smell it immediately, even if it's only 1 or 2 parts per million. But
Lime helps.
just saying, if you
Just
needed to hide a
to
body.
hide the stench of death.
Industrial strength lime. You can get it at Builders.
No, stop. We don't want to be helping people to hide bodies.
No?
There's enough shit going on.
The secret is.
Okay, let's go.
The secret
Let's
is.
go there.
Whoever you bury a pet above them.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
That is
Oh
truly,
yes.
that is
Yeah.
truly clever.
Because the sensor dogs will sniff out the spot, start
Sniff out the
digging,
spot.
and then the
It's just a
investigators.
fucking mongoose.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
They're never going to look underneath that.
No.
That's so clever.
Very, very clever.
Shit. You see, we're
You've
learning
been,
got
things.
that
watching
from
true crime with
You
your
didn't
wife.
get it
Yeah.
from
too much.
ChatGPT, you lying
Why
bastard.
do ladies love watching that so much?
I can tell you why.
It's scary as fuck.
Because they're
Husbands who kill. I'm in bed
Yeah.
with you.
because they're learning.
Yep.
They're learning on how to avoid situations like that happening to them.
Avoid. Oh,
Yes.
That's what she says, but there's some of them who are watching to get ideas.
Tips.
Yeah. The ones that aren't as cute as bunnies are plotting something bigger.
Do you don't watch those shows? I hate
Oh,
those
I love
shows.
them.
I don't want to see real true crime
I'm
stuff.
forced to watch.
Life is
My wife and I are very different.
do you guys have a bedroom TV situation?
Yeah.
Oh, you see.
Yeah.
that's-
And the camera and everything.
All right.
For
Mirror on the ceiling.
no, it's for meetings.
Waterbed.
It's for meetings. That's
A
living,
heart-shaped waterbed.
yeah, that's living on the edge. Fear.
Yeah.
God. Your bedroom and masturbatorium sound like the same place. All right. Always plant an endangered tree over the body you're burying. Then it's illegal to dig it up. That's another good
Ah.
idea.
Ah,
Very clever.
That's very smart. I like Congo Chris.
Yes, he's full of good ideas. Do you have like a list of people who you could call if you needed to hide a body? It would be a very short list, but are there friends that you care about that care about you that much that they would come to your aid to hide a body?
No.
You brought up the body hiding thing, so I'm asking. There's no one.
No.
No one.
No.
I have a few
I've got
friends.
a good group of friends now.
Yeah.
People who are above bad things.
Like, I
I've
mean,
s-
you have to know 100% that person's not going to turn on you.
exactly.
That's why I'm saying it's a very, very small number of people, if at all. He says, no, there isn't.
I've got 2.
You got 2, huh?
Mm.
Would one of them be a brother? One of them be your
Hot water bottle and a bottle of bubble.
Would one of them be your brother?
Yes.
Okay.
And the other is a lawyer.
Oh, well,
So I thought that might be quite clever.
that's interesting.
Talking about client privilege.
Yeah, I got 2 or 3 friends I could call on in that case. But I'm not planning anything, just to be clear.
No, it's if something happens.
I don't know if it's a trust thing from my end, but I don't think
You think you're on
anybody
your own.
else would do something illegal with me. They would do things maybe illegally on their own and not tell me, but doing something illegal with me, they wouldn't.
Then you need to watch more true crime because it sounds
No, I
like
don't
you're
wanna
going to
watch that
save your ass by yourself.
No. I feel like that's almost tempting fate. You watch those shows, it makes you think that stuff. I think the real world is hard enough. You know, it's like these people who have, like, they're paranoid about their house being broken into or whatever, and that's happened to you. I mean, you had that
I'm very
home
paranoid
invasion, which
still.
is, no, I understand it. But like, if you're thinking about it all the time, it's making you extremely unhappy. And I think that you can't live in blissful ignorance, right? But you don't want to also bring yourself into constant contact with crime and murders and things, even if it's TV shows. I don't want to have that in my reality.
Yeah, just don't
Look,
follow
I'm
Yusuf
not watching
Brumshy on
it.
Twitter.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no, don't do that.
It's true.
Hey, let's just put this call on. Hang on. Hey, what's up? Hello.
Morning, Gareth. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. What's happening?
I know you're good. I have a problem.
Yeah.
Why did you delete those old Trevor Gumbi shows?
We didn't delete any. They're still there on cliffcentral.com.
No, it says the shows have been archived, all of them.
Just send us an email. We'll sort it out. I promise you, they're still there.
Wow, okay, that's awesome. I have a serious question, by the way.
Okay, go.
Except that. Okay, how do I respond to people, because I have these people on my WhatsApp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see their statuses, most of them, not most of them, but I can say half of them, always posting things like, oh, I'm having such a bad day. Oh, my life is so hard. Always complaining. How do you respond to those things?
How would you respond, Gumbi?
Because they are not talking to you. They are just posting. They're putting it out there. I don't know if you should respond.
I think they're probably attention seeking. But what would you do, Gumbi?
Ignore.
Just ignore them.
Yes, I would ignore that.
Because they're like crying. They're crying for help, so you don't need to be involved.
Yeah, bro, they're not talking to you. I would check on them if you care about them, but if you don't care about somebody, you can't extend an olive branch to somebody that you're not willing to save. So if you really don't care for that person, don't give them false hope, because you will drop them when things get even worse. But if it is somebody you care about, just reach out to them and say, would you like to talk? You know, talk them off the edge if that's what needs to be. But I ignore that stuff. I've got enough problems.
Yeah. What would you say? What would you say, Leigh-Ann? It's a good question, because I've seen these things on people's WhatsApp statuses too. And you see there's people who like they'll post something on any social medium thing, and it's like, oh,
hello darkness, my old friend.
I'm so ready to give up or whatever. And
Here we go again.
Like, you're tempted to get involved, but maybe that's not the right thing to do.
I think when it's a WhatsApp status in particular, how often do people update those? Is it a thing that
I don't even know what mine is.
I think I've got like a sunshine or a see no evil monkey or something. I don't know. But no, if it's a permanent message they've put out there or semi-permanent message, then
Mine
I'm
says
really not
urgent
interested.
calls only. It's mine.
It's very, very rude,
Yeah.
Gareth.
Well, I mean, do
it's
you?
the story. WhatsApp stories, not the status.
Oh, WhatsApp
Oh,
stories.
okay. Yeah, I don't even look at those. I don't think I've ever seen anyone's WhatsApp story.
But yeah, if
Yeah, I
it's
reached
someone,
out to one of them.
if it's someone that you know and it's a cry for help, then yeah. But otherwise, ugh.
Sorry, you say you reached out to one of them and?
And they just told me, I'm not sure if I'm ready to talk about it.
Oh, well, there you go. You just wasted your data, bro.
Yeah, there you see. There's no good deed goes unpunished.
Yep.
Sometimes you
Well, I just thought that because there's this thing of saying when someone has died, committed suicide, oh, but I remember they gave us clues. How could I not see it?
most of the, you know what? Most of the people who are doing that are not the ones who are asking for help. Actually, the ones who are
But how do you know?
Well, the ones who are going to commit suicide very often are the ones who don't tell anyone. They just do it.
Maybe they are also the ones who are going to say, I'm not ready to talk about it.
Maybe, dude. I don't know. How much do you care about these people?
Maybe some of them 20%, 50%,
I'd say,
75%.
well, just to keep your own life tidy, 50% or more, send them a message.
Also, yeah.
It costs you nothing.
And I think that message that you should send is a link to suicide prevention hotline.
Or ChatGPT.
Because as much as you want to help, you're not a professional.
Yeah.
Rather let a professional help.
Good point.
And I know about these suicide hotlines because of what I Googled. I was Googling
All right, thank you so much.
Sorry?
Bye. For now.
All right.
Had
He's
enough.
had enough. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. He's like,
He's
Jesus, can you guys just shut
bye.
up?
Okay, thanks. Bye.
I thought he called in for advice, but nah, he just wanted to vent, just like the people on
What
WhatsApp.
if he commits suicide?
Nah, he'll be fine. He
He
sounds
got
like
what
he's
he
all right.
needed.
Yeah, got what he needed. He's done now. Monday is my officially my favorite show now. Whenever Leigh-Ann is on, I know it will be good. You guys are just tonic for the soul and a hug to the heart. Trevor's just a cherry on top today. All right, I love it.
Oh, thank you, Janet.
All right,
Oh,
well,
look at Janet's picture there in the profile. She looks so hot, but you know it's an old picture. It's like a real estate agent. They always look so great in the corner bin of the suburbs, and then they come as old, frumpy white lady. What happened to the well-tanned
Are you calling me a
blonde?
real estate agent?
all right, listen, my friend. Nice to see you. And
Oh,
thank
this
you.
was amazing.
Thank you for popping by and enjoy your gym that
Yeah.
you're going to. He's dressed to kill.
Already dressed.
Yeah.
You see how that works?
The guy.
I really would have crawled back into bed because my only other job is taking the kids to school and back, and it's school holidays. So,
Nice.
Ah, that explains why the neighbors' kids are running in the garden, building things and screaming. Thank you for
Exactly.
that.
Right, it's Trevor moved in next door.
Oh,
That's why he's actually on your neighborhood WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
the one that he brought
you
up
should see
earlier.
the things Leigh-Ann posts.
Oh my God. Listen, can we just one day have a conversation about what is appropriate and inappropriate to put on these neighborhood groups? It's fine if you're sharing like the number of a plumber, but it's not fine for you to be putting up like jokes about shit on the neighborhood WhatsApp group.
Yeah. I think stay away from politics and religion.
Oh,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
And racism.
And racism.
Can we
A
not
lot
have
of
any
racism
like?
comes up.
Isn't that politics? Doesn't that fall under
I
politics?
think it's a different category.
Different category.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you
Yeah,
could
granted then.
Stick to the neighborhood stuff. Everything to do with just the neighborhood.
Security.
Yeah,
Things that help you function.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Somebody's been taking the lilies from my sidewalk outside my gate.
that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But not to say I think it's one of the blacks.
Well, there's a thing about the other WhatsApp group, the Harties one.
What?
They're blaming the Filipino lady for bringing in the what's that floating thing?
Oh, the
that's
water
full of-
hyacinth.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because she wanted to be reminded of her birthplace, and
Oh,
she
Lord.
brought these over. And they've
Is this a
taken-
real thing?
That is
Yes,
so
I know
awkward.
that the hyacinths are real for me. They're blaming a Filipino lady.
I think it's Filipino, but it's not. That plant is not native to
No.
South Africa.
But it's been there like 30 years.
Because this fucking old lady has planted it there. I've gone through 3 speedboats. This is awful.
Oh, it must be so hard. First world problems on the dam. Well, you said it, so we're going to believe it. All right, dude. Lovely to see you. Thanks for visiting us. Trevor Gumbi, everybody. You can I'll make sure that those shows are still available for people to hear. I don't know what he's talking about, that it's been archived or something. I mean, it is like 9 years, you know? We started that 9 years ago.
Wow. How old are we?
Yeah, I know. You were telling me it's almost a decade.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Proper
All right.
midlife crisis time.
Right.
Trevor Gumbi.
Thank
So
you.
good to see you. And people just love you. TL says, Trevor's the best guest this year so far. The man's hilarious. There we go. And Mapelo he was running out of airtime. That's why I had to cut the call so quick.
Thank goodness.
Sure.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
We thought it was us.
At least he said thanks. He was like, hey, thanks, bye.
Very good. Love it. Trev, be good, man. Check you later. No, he's not going to kill himself. What a
Thank you
nutcase.
so much.
All right, my friend. Nice to see you. All right. It is just after 7:30. We've got Markets Mondays, which is one of the things I love to do every fortnight. We check in with somebody who actually knows what the hell's going on in the world economy. And of course, today we cannot but talk about some of the things that have been happening since Silicon Valley Bank started to cause its trouble. But whether you're a new trader looking for a safe place to start or an experienced trader who is looking for low spreads, multi-assets, and high tech, you will find markets.com suits you perfectly. As you know, we've got a special offer to everyone who listens to the show. You could follow the link on cliffcentral.com to register with markets.com. You will get a 30% bonus on your deposit. So go along to cliffcentral.com. You will see markets.com come up. Click on that, follow through, 30% bonus in your deposit. It's not a bad way to start. And this week, we're joined by Finalto and Markets.com's chief market analyst, Neil Wilson, as we unpack the shaky banking conditions following SVB's collapse. Can we expect another financial crisis? What kind of policy moves will the Fed make next? And most importantly, how does it affect us? Neil, good to have you on. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, good morning. Nice to see you.
Morning.
Earlier segment.
Yeah, there's nothing that you could call usual about what we do on this show. But one of the best things about having you guys from markets.com available is that you're here to help us understand and unpack what's happening in the world. So Trevor Gumbi actually asked earlier, what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank collapse? Because it's something we're all a bit concerned about. It's the second largest bank failure in the United States' history. Obviously, it's very difficult to pinpoint any one thing when it comes to multi-billion-dollar disasters. But what would you say was the biggest issue at SVB?
So SVB had kind of mismatched its portfolio. It sunk too much of its assets into what we call long duration bonds. So government bonds that mature in sort of 10, 20, 30 years. And what that meant was, because the Fed had been raising interest rates, it was sitting on quite a chunky amount of unrealized losses. And that started to spook depositors. And we actually saw sort of really the first bank run of the digital age, where, a lot of these very flighty, very rate sensitive, very sort of knowledgeable depositors at SVB, who mainly tech companies, so companies that are in the know, if you like, not like the likes of you or I, who might not be that bothered if the savings rate was 3% instead of 3.5% or whatever. These are people who are sort of keeping an eye on this sort of stuff on a regular basis, and they start to pull their money out. And once you get a bank run and people start pulling their money out, well, there tends to only be one way it goes, and that's why we've seen Silicon Valley fail. And this morning I'm reading that they've actually, the Citizens Bank has actually bought the assets of SVB.
Oh. All right, so I mean, there is a follow-on thing that you kind of hinted at here, that SVB collapses, and then you've got First Republic Bank, Credit Suisse. There's one called Signature Bank. Is this a financial crisis? And do you think the next domino to fall will be something much bigger and much more international, or do you think they've managed to stem the flow of blood?
I'm not sure if they have stemmed it yet. We'll see. I mean, it seems to be that some of the weaker kind of players are going to be taken out. I think we're in a situation of kind of fear that's driving this, and the market is kind of like a like a sort of hungry serpent or something that's kind of searching for its next victim, and it's just sniffing out where the weaker hands are. And I think that's why you saw Deutsche Bank coming under pressure at the end of the week, the big German bank, which has gone through years and years of pain and restructuring, much like Credit Suisse had done. For many years we joked that Credit Suisse had become the new Deutsche Bank, and it's sort of gone to an extreme. And now the question is, Deutsche Bank the new Credit Suisse? And they're sort of the weaker, kind of more troubled end of the banking spectrum in Europe. And I think it's not beyond the realms of possibility that there's one or two more failures, but this is not 2008. The banks are not sitting on trillions of dollars of really, really bad assets, really sort of crappy sort of mortgages and so on. They're not in that position. So this is not going to spiral in that sense, but I think it could result in a kind of credit crunch whereby banks stop lending as much, and that can lead to real recession.
One of the questions that I have is that obviously the Biden administration climbed in and guaranteed that depositors would get their money back, but that does nothing for the investors in the bank. They are not guaranteed any kind of return on this. In other words, if you're an investor, you just have to suck it up. Is that right, Neil?
Yeah, basically. I mean, even on the deposit side, there's been some pretty mixed messages. We saw from Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, last week, said one thing on Wednesday and had a backtrack to pick on Thursday. Basically, once you're talking about deposit insurance, you're in a bad place, because really it's the sort of thing, it wants to be the kind of unseen hand that kind of steps in if there is a crisis, that there is some sort of intervention, some sort of control mechanism. But you don't really want to be talking about it overtly, because there's $17 trillion of deposits in the US. The government can't just bail them all out in reality. Nope. But in practice, it can step in as required. That's kind of the message that they're going to get to. But yeah, investors are they're obviously they're the ones that are, I guess, most exposed to this, and that's why you're seeing the share prices fall, because investors are big intelligent sort of institutional investors are saying that we're just there's too much risk here. The risk desk is kind of telling the portfolio managers what to do here. They're saying that there's too much risk here. We need to remove ourselves from this.
Well, I mean, part of the problem here at SVB, people aren't really talking about it as much, is that their risk person was not doing risk. They were buggering around with all kinds of other stuff and virtue signaling all over the place, because Silicon Valley is obviously one of those places where the more woke you are, the more respect you get. Certainly social currency seems to be high for that kind of thing. And the risk person, the person in charge of managing that risk at SVB, was messing around with other stuff.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, go woke and go broke. I think that's the message.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously had, priorities were maybe not where they should have been. There's a bigger sort of issue there, if you like, across corporate culture, whereby there is a lot of focus on certain aspects that you think maybe are not fulfilling your fiduciary duty by worrying too much about climate change or whatever it is. The companies themselves, their responsibility is ultimately to their
shareholders.
Yeah, and longer term, obviously, there's lots of things in the long term that you might consider are important, but in the short term, you got to always be looking at where you are and what your risk is, and what your as they found out they shoved a whole lot of money into at the top of the market in government debt. And they decided that even when it was flagged to them, that they said, well, actually, we like the yield on this, we like the return, so we're going to keep it there, even though it created problems and ultimately the failure. So they're really obviously showed a real lacking in risk management. That's an outlier. That shows that they're an outlier. That's not a sign that this is a deeper problem across the banking space, because I think the vast majority of banks are not in that position at all. They're not like that. So in a sense, it's a good thing, because it sort of shows that they are an exception rather than the rule.
All right. Well, Let's turn our attention to something else. A lot of people who listen to this show were very, very gung-ho about crypto for a long time, as was I. I think maybe that passion has subsided for many people, but we have seen a decoupling between crypto and the markets. Now, do you think this holds any long-term significance, or do you think it's just a knee-jerk reaction to uncertainty?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the Jamie Dimon kind of position, that they're pet rocks. You know, I'm not not to sound too dismissive, but you know, I don't see. I think they're an answer that's seeking a question, and I'm not quite sure what that question is. And I think definitely we've seen decoupling. Bitcoin's rallied significantly since bank failure. That could be because people are searching for somewhere else to put their money. You know, people putting their money in money market funds to get sort of 4 or 5% returns and taking them out of banks. Maybe they're also putting them into Bitcoin. I'm not so sure. I think maybe it was just that you saw this big momentum trade through the start of the year, and really what the banking crisis has done is kind of lead to a big unwind of that position. So a reversal of that trade, and so the reversal of that trade was positive for Bitcoin, and other some other cryptos anyway. I'm not sure. I don't think that this is the end of the financial system or anything like that. So I think that this is maybe a bit of an anomaly. This decoupling. I think fundamentally you're going to see the sort of mean reversion where you know, crypto assets start to function as a kind of proxy for the amount of liquidity and risk appetite that there is in the market.
All right. Well, I was talking just the other day to your colleague at markets.com and someone who also comes and gives us some good advice, Simon Brown, the other day. And Simon said to me he is particularly worried about South Africa's Reserve Bank, and he reckons that they might just keep interest rates where they are. We're slightly ahead of the curve of the Fed in America when it comes to raising interest rates. And that's good because we don't want to see a huge outflow of investment capital in South Africa just because our interest rates reach the same level as the US interest rates in terms of how low they are still. So, I mean, I wondered whether you thought that was something to look at and what you think the Fed's behavior is going to be going forward, because obviously they only have this one tool to manage inflation, and inflation is the big, boogeyman that they have to try and take care of.
Yeah, so I think, well, as regards to the Fed, I think they kind of signaled last week that they're pretty much on pause now. They might raise once more, but they think that this banking crisis is going to lead to a significant amount of tightening in credit conditions. So they might lending, basically, the banks do, and that's sort of like several hikes. So they're going to sort of sit and wait and see what that pans out like. The question is, they don't really know what sort of market impact this has had on credit. So we'll see. And I think probably that this will lead to further tightening, and that does do some of the job for the Fed. Whether or not they then find out that actually they sort of if this sort of signature bank, this Citizens Bank deal with SVB helps to alleviate concerns, and maybe some of the stress in the banking sector goes away. I don't see there's any one solution. I think that probably this is going to have to play out like a full cycle. It's going to have to lead to banks reining in credit. There's no other sort of solution here. There's not some magic wand where you say, well, their Credit Suisse is fixed, they're done. Right. It's going to lead to tightening in financial conditions, and then possibly recession. I think you're looking at probably quite a hard landing in the US later this year.
All right. So for those people who are trading on markets.com now, they want to know about the Q1 earnings season. What do you think is going to happen there? I mean, I'm asking you to look into the crystal ball, but you have experience of this stuff. So you're a better person to answer this than me. And maybe there's some things that we should be aware of looking at these results.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a sort of general sense that what sort of headwinds are earnings looking at? Is the consumer holding up? I think we're starting to see signs that consumers cracking, but there's still significant amount of we're sort of talking here about the US mainly, just because the US is the biggest market, and that's kind of what people trade on. There's still a lot of savings there that can be deployed, and they're going to be deployed as consumers spend. So I think there's potential for earnings again to hold up okay, but it's the outlook. I think we're going to be looking at what the CFOs are saying about demand going into sort of Q3, Q4, and I think that's going to be pretty weak. I think we're going to see some very weak guidance. So I think you're looking at earnings in lots of quarters, lots of sort of sections of the market holding up pretty surprisingly well, but then the guidance being very weak, and that's maybe going to rattle investors.
All right. Well, always good to check in with you, Neil, and thank you for your advice today and for clarifying things like SVB and the possible banking crisis. It's always good to hear these things from someone who knows what they're talking about, and we will catch up with you again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Very, very good. There's Neil Wilson with markets.com. You can join markets.com today, get a 30% bonus. Just follow the link on cliffcentral.com. And if you've never tried any of this before, maybe it's time you dip your toe in. It's worth checking them out. Markets.com SA on all the social media. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find all the information you need, and they're doing lots of cool and interesting things. We had a function here the other day with the guys from Markets, and they were talking to a whole bunch of traders, young and old, big traders, small traders. It's really an incredibly exciting place to be. And I think if you haven't tried it out before, this is maybe the time to give it a go. I noticed in the comments something funny happened here.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, who is a regular listener, had obviously left his phone because it said, "I love my girlfriend." Now, I was watching this unfold in the comment section. You don't think that's suspicious?
What?
The comment I've just put up here.
No, it is strange.
"I love my girlfriend." So I knew straight away that his girlfriend had got hold of his phone.
Oh,
Straight
I didn't.
away. Oh, yeah, no, straight away. And then he says a little bit later, "This is why you don't leave your phone unattended." And I knew when I saw the "I love my girlfriend" comment, I was like, definitely the girlfriend
you see,
has
I
the
didn't
phone.
even click. Well done
straight
on
away.
that.
So you guys don't ever do things like that unless it's under huge pressure from the girlfriend.
Or it's their mate that's like playing the fool or whatever.
Might be, but it's probably the girlfriend.
Okay.
See, because a guy would never go into a comment
No, of
section
course.
of a show, especially a show like this, and say,
I thought
"I
it
love
might
my
have been
girlfriend."
in relation to something that someone else had said.
No,
Okay,
no.
got it.
And Hardy Dave says that's very admirable, Derek. You see, he was fooled by it. I was not fooled by this. I just want to point that out.
Okay. All right. Good.
I saw this and I knew what it was.
I wanted to say about SVB.
Yes.
I almost fully understand what happened in the background of it due to the video that I came across, which is an account held by this Malibu Barbie type looking girl.
Yeah.
Who's married to a banker in Silicon Valley.
Oh, wow.
And
this is where you get your information.
Well, it was in my feed. So she's married to this Asian banker. They've moved to Silicon Valley.
Okay.
And she is making use of her time with her husband's knowledge and experience to create videos of him explaining these things.
All right. Okay.
As if he's explaining them to her. And I just thought it was quite clever what she's done, because it's, helping people who really don't understand anything from the ground up. But she's also, enriching herself.
Okay, but is she ditzy or is she quite like...
She seems as if she could have been quite ditzy, but she's willing to grow. And you can see she's starting to grow and have these conversations with her husband now and ask questions that make sense. So I thought that was quite cool. She's like,
that is cool,
developing herself, which is awesome.
And also because she comes at it from a point of view that isn't conventional, she might be able to explain things a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that very much. There are a couple of these education videos that you actually alerted me to a few Instagram accounts years ago that I now follow religiously. There are a couple of these. I mean, I'm following some really weird like history stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For example, there's, they'll post like a picture from 1853 and show you like, children doing like hard labor work. And you think, wow, life is much better now than it's ever been. And then there'll be a photograph of, the corpse of Lincoln on the day he was shot. And you'll think, I didn't even know they had photography then.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
I quite enjoy those videos that they bring back to life with color and
Oh, those are the best.
yeah. So it'll just be like a street scene in Manhattan or something of people walking and horse carriages, and they've brought it to color and given it definition.
I
and
meant
sound.
I meant to bring this up when Trevor was still here, but we had to go to markets and there was a whole lot of stuff happening. But I watched a clip from what was a supposed stand-up comedy show in the 1940s or 50s. So it's all in black and white. And this guy goes up on stage and goes, "Hey, everybody, are you having a happy time?" And then he like calls up these people from the crowd, and then they kind of, he gives them a prize, but then there's some funny stuff. They tell stories. And it shows you how much humor has changed. Like if you tried to do that stuff now, you'd be booed off the stage. But in those days, the audience were loving it. They're rolling in their seats. They're clapping. They're laughing out loud. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious how in just, 70 years or so?
Yeah.
Everything has changed. Even in humor. You think, well, we probably have the same sense of humor as the people who lived 70 years ago. We don't.
No.
We have nothing in common with them in terms of that stuff.
We've become so much more demanding in the
Absolutely.
level of humor that we require.
I mean, here's a good point. Slippery Pickle says, and it's in that movie, that Ways to Die in the West or whatever, Charlize Theron made with Seth, whatever his name is.
Rogen, perhaps?
No, the other one.
Oh,
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
The guy who does Family Guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, makes the point that they never used to smile in photos back in those days.
No.
That's the
Wasn't
funniest
a
thing,
done
right?
thing. No, I think it's the opposite now. I think we're the funny ones.
Because we smile?
Yeah. We force a smile. That's more odd.
You can look happy in a picture. Shouldn't that be how do you want pictures of you looking glum?
I just think it's odd that when a phone or some kind of camera device is put in front of our face, we smile like chimps.
I think it's much weirder to be all serious for a picture.
It is funny
Come on.
because they may have been laughing before, and the photographer said, "No, stop laughing." I don't know how they would have done that.
Yeah, Seth
Seth
MacFarlane. There we
there
go.
we
A Million
go.
Ways to Die in the West. Probably one of the funniest movies of all time.
It's brilliant. Really brilliant.
Take your hat off, boy. That's $1 bill. That's exactly right. Okay, well, I think it's ridiculous that we smile for pictures, but I still think it's even more ridiculous if you didn't. If you on purpose tried to be all serious.
It was interesting as well, speaking about our little debate last week on fat shaming.
Yeah. Did you get some feedback on that?
I didn't actually know, but something that was,
I don't think we were very controversial about it, actually.
No, because you're not extreme in it, and I'm not extreme in it.
No.
On either
Although some
end.
people think I am, because I will laugh at fat people and I do make comments about it. And some people go, well, that's
but you're less
a bridge too far.
extreme than you were. You know, you
okay,
know.
but I interrupted you. What did you want to say about it?
Oh yes, merging.
She had a senior moment.
Merging that with our talk about history and fat shaming with that is there was a video about women's clothing. And you know, these Victorian era corsets and dresses and things.
These poor women,
and they were all
had to
so
go through.
tiny.
Oh
Like if you go through a museum, you see these tiny little, and you think people were tiny in those days. Well, as it turns out, it's not. I was watching this historian who has corsets for big women too.
All right.
It's just that the museums asked for the smallest one that would fit their mannequins.
Oh.
Because they didn't go and order
okay.
in 40 sizes.
Listen, there must have been, there's no way everyone was tiny in those days. I mean, they also say things like, oh, well, you know, we've got a bit taller on average. That's possibly true. But there were 6'3" people in biblical times.
But that's also why I don't understand. I mean, I even lived in a town where there were these historical homes built by the British colonizers, and the doorways were smaller. But I think people were just ducking. It was too expensive to build taller buildings.
I don't know about that. I don't think anyone wants to duck when they go through a door, do they?
Well, they have since the cave ages, haven't they?
But one of the things that's nice about walking into a room is that you don't have to duck. Why would you?
Well, I've never had.
Why'd you spend money on floors or on ceilings or on art in your house if you didn't spend enough money just to make the doors
Well,
big
think about the window thing.
enough? No,
You know, it was too expensive to build windows.
that sounds like nonsense. It is interesting considering that we were on last Monday as well, and it was a public holiday the next day, and it was the weekend before. So I don't know if a lot of people were there, but we did talk about that menopause stuff, which got people talking in other circles. And Cliff Centralist says you had a menopause moment now when you had to think of what
Perimenopause, if you want to be specific. But I must say that was another kind of not argument that we put forward, but it was, I didn't feel like her case might have been strong enough. Remember I said, what is the ask of men? And I thought about it for a long time afterwards, because I'm not like a severely symptomatic perimenopausal woman. I just get on with my life. So I don't know, what do they want people to, what do they want men to do?
Like, there's this thing going on in the world at the moment, which I on a day where I'm very prickly and irritable, it just makes me crazy. But otherwise, I'm okay with it. Is this idea of everyone has to be listening to everyone else's lived experience nonsense. And that's all good and well. Like I say, on a good day, if I've got time and I'm feeling thoughtful and kind, then of course I'll sit and listen to your lived experience thing and go, oh, that's unbelievable, or how terrible, or how great, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'll have a genuine interest. But this idea that we're all just sitting around with oodles of time to listen to everyone else's bullshit lived experience, please believe me, there's someone with a more interesting story than you.
No, exactly.
And to have to hear this at the workplace where there's actually stuff to be done, I think you're asking a lot of people. Everybody's got their shit. Your shit might be that you're going through menopause. The guy might be going through a divorce. Which one is more important? Who deserves more time? What are we suddenly going to allocate? We're going to walk around with a victim number on our shirts and
yellow for divorce.
You've got a like 70% misery index today. Let me talk to you about your lived experience. Who has the time? I just don't believe people are that interested in other people, for starters. They're only interested if they can get something or if they really care about that person.
Yeah. It's
and
like
at work,
survival and care.
At work, nobody cares. I saw a really interesting interview with Annie Leibovitz. Sorry, Fran Leibovitz. Fran Leibovitz is the writer. Annie's the photographer. Fran Leibovitz, it's really like she's a grumpy old lady, but she's fantastic, right? And super smart. She's been on Real Time with Bill Maher a few times. That's where I first saw her. She said she doesn't believe any of this crap about companies caring about their workers. She said she can't believe anyone fell for that. The only job of a business is to make profits. She said all this other stuff is just lip service. She said they've borrowed the language of poets, your vision, your values, all of this. She said that's absolute nonsense. And if you believe it, if you fall for that stuff, you're just an idiot. That was Fran Leibovitz.
Jeez.
And then I saw a clip of Ayn Rand, the great writer of the 1950s who escaped Soviet Russia. And she was the mother of, like, she wrote Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead and all that stuff. She says she believed, and well, she's no longer around, but in this clip she says, I believe in a separation of the state and economics. Just like the separation of church and state, she produces a much more harmonious environment. She says that the state should have no control of the economy whatsoever, and then everything will be better. And it got me thinking again, is it the business of a corporation or a small enterprise to be worrying about, perimenopausal women, people who are going through divorces, give them free counseling at work? Not really. These things are all distractions from the purpose. You're there to work, to produce a profit. So
these are your sick days. Use them how you need to.
I mean, you could take a hard line on this, or you can accommodate these things, but it's never going to be 100% either way.
No, I agree with you.
So I'm glad we settled that.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah, it was
let me just tick that off my list for the morning. Done. All right, everybody. Have a happy week. We will see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. bright and early for another one of these. Lebang and I return, and we've got some interesting people coming up this week. I've done a couple of really cool interviews, which I can't wait to play for you. All of those and more on the way. And by the way, just so you know, there's also something very cool coming up now. Sitting at the helm of TBWA Huntler Scaris Johannesburg are the CEO, Karabo Denalane, and the Executive Creative Director, Carl Willoughby. Karabo and Carl shared their most recent experiences in the storied tale of this business. Karabo's tenure has included the monumental transformation of the agency into what it is today, which is a truly radical, open, creative collective with culture at the core. While Carl has been acknowledged at all major local and international awards shows, in 2021, they were ranked the #1 agency in South Africa. They still hold that place now, according to the local awards. So take a listen to all of this. It's part of our 40 years of Huntler Scaris. And of course, this week they celebrate that with a big party. And it's something worth celebrating, very much deserved. So take a listen to that. That's coming up next.